Hi everyone, this is Maya and thank you so much for being here with me in finally another Sims 4 speed build. Today we're building Ponyo's house from the Studio Ghibli film Ponyo on a 20 by 20 lot in Brindleton Bay for my ongoing build series #MAIAmakes Ghibli. This is up under my gallery under the ID MAIAmakes, which is the same name as my channel. So if you want to stay tuned for more future Ghibli builds, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. So for those of you who are new to this build series that I'm doing, I actually started this build series back in September 2021 and I've already actually made 2 Ghibli builds, and I'm trying to make all of the Ghibli builds from all 22 Ghibli movies, which is quite a task to be honest, and if I post videos at this pace, it's gonna take more than a year to complete the series. So anyway, I already started Kiki's house from Kiki's Delivery Service, and also the Kusakabe house from My Neighbor Totoro. So this one now is from a more modern, more recent Ghibli movie, or Ghibli movie, I should say, that is called Ponyo. If you don't know what the movie Ponyo is, basically it's about this kid named Sosuke, and he lives nearby the ocean, and he founds this goldfish and he names it Ponyo, and it's kind of similar to Little Mermaid because Ponyo turns into a girl so she can be with Sosuke. And Ponyo's father, I guess it's her father, was looking all around for her and finding her because she's not in the ocean anymore, and it's just one whole beautiful adventure of Sasuke and Ponyo being friends in the beautiful town of, I think it's based on Koriko, Japan. Yeah, but I'm not sure what the name of the town is, but it's a very beautiful and very aesthetically pleasing movie that I love so much. But to be honest, it's not that prominent, it's not that famous. But the reason why I chose this movie is because my youngest brother, I asked him like back in December, what Ghibli build should I do next? And he told me Ponyo because I think it's his favorite movie, because it's really suited for kids and it does feel like a kids movie, but as an adult, as usual, I really love every single Ghibli movie. So yeah, that's basically the context of why I'm doing this build and what this build is about. But more about the build, if you saw earlier, I started with the interior instead of the exterior because the weird thing about cartoons is that the proportions are very weird. From scene to scene, it could change. Like, I did notice some changes going on from frame to frame here. Like this stair was wood in one shot, but then it became stone in one shot. You know, like those little nuances you kind of notice. And it doesn't help you much when you're a Sims builder because you want to be accurate in recreating a build. So I really struggled a lot with the floor plan, so I had to start off with it first. So another thing that I struggled with was the windows. Because we have, like, to be honest, The Sims 4 has very limited windows options, if you know what I mean. We have this one beautiful window from Snow Escape, but it doesn't come in any other size. It's just like this one window and that's it. But anyway, I tried to work around that. I used the tool mod to scale them up, and also I did a very nifty trick of turning windows into doors. I also made a little tutorial about it if you want to watch it, if you want to check it out. But basically, I put the window on the basement or on the lower floor, and then I placed the actual door on the floor where the window is actually on, if that makes sense. But it's kind of hard to do at times because you're putting it in another floor and it's kind of hard to control. But I really wanted to recreate it exactly as it is in the movie because the proportions are really getting weird if I only use the window in its normal size. So I had to size it up. I even had to use two of it in one window. If you see it here, like I used the same window, but I layered it on top of one another and then kind of made a new window swatch. So I think that's pretty nifty. So other than the windows, there were a lot of custom things that I had to do. There were these custom counters that you're seeing here right now. There is also a custom toddler bed that I had to turn into kind of like a full-size bed but make it functional for a toddler, if that makes sense. But you'll see it in a while. And also a lot of clutter. I cannot emphasize how much clutter this house has. Like, I had one whole cup full of utensils that I had to individually place in a cup. That was pretty wild to do when we have like normal clutter in the game, but I really wanted to be exact in building this. Yeah, and apart from all that struggle, I also struggled with making the exterior look more interesting because it does look very flat in the game. It's just one color, windows on it, a red roof, and you're done. But in a Ghibli movie, it looks really whimsical and magical and, childlike, very cartoony. But I couldn't recreate that well here in the game. So what I did for most of the exterior was just add a lot of detail. Just a lot of detail. From the lights to the window panes to I think there were some water pipes along the sides. Same goes for the interior, just a lot of detail. If you just don't add that much clutter like the one you're seeing right now, it looks kind of flat when you're playing it in the game. So that's why I took so much time in every room. And to be honest, it's actually a long building time because it's such a small build. Like, it's only on a 20 by 20 lot, but it took me 18 hours to finish this in a span of 3 months because I've started this back in January. So that's pretty wild, but it's kind of expected of me because I'm quite indecisive when I'm building. I mean, it's a normal thing when you're building it, but anyway. To be honest, recreating a build is actually, for me, it's actually harder than making your own build because it takes more time to, get every detail right. And this is based on an animation, and I think I tried to carry over the whimsical animated feel of it by making certain objects a bit more chunky. Like, I had to add more frames, I had to use more cartoony objects, if you know what I mean. And especially add more texture in a room or on the exterior. Like this one, I used like a more distressed wallpaper. The exterior, I added like kind of a stucco wallpaper, I guess. So yeah, I think that's my advice if you ever want to recreate any cartoon build that you have in mind. It translates differently in the game, especially if you want to make it functional for gameplay. Of course, I had to rewatch Ponyo a lot of times, but then I rewatched this back when Tartosa, the new world that comes with My Wedding Stories game pack, came out. And I was thinking that, what if I turned Tartosa into a Ghibli world, in a Ghibli world, sorry? Because this is not the only house, or it's not the only build in Ponyo. I noticed that in Ponyo you have the retirement home, There's also the kindergarten or I think it's daycare, where Sosuke goes to. And I noticed that they were very close to the sea, and Tartosa is basically a town close to the sea, and it actually makes sense. So I think I will work on that more. Although, tiny little problem, I still don't have my wedding stories because it is quite buggy and I'm not willing to pay for it at a full price. Like, I still have to wait for the sale if it ever goes on sale. But Tartosa is a really beautiful world and I will not let that pass. I was actually thinking of adding Porco Rosso in some lots, or even Kiki in some lots. So I don't know, I'll just see how it goes if I ever come to that point where I complete all my Ghibli builds. If you notice the things that I'm doing here in this part of the video, or everything that I'm doing here in this build it involves a lot of the tool mod, and I know that some builders are not really fans of the tool mod, especially if you're not really into getting into every detail, or if you don't have the capability of using mods. But honestly, ever since I used the tool mod, I couldn't go back to playing without mods, without any building mods. Because other than the tool mod, I also use Twisted Mexie's Better Build by Catalog, and I also use the red shelf. I think that's pretty much it. But I do make sure that all my builds are CC free, and you can download them from the gallery or in the tray file below. But yeah, I do use a lot of tool mod, even in the things that you don't really need tool mod for. It's kind of a problem actually, and it takes so much of my time, but once you have the tool mod, you just can't go back. So I'm so sorry if you don't use the tool mod, but I really, really love it, and I think every builder should have it. For those of you who have been watching my Ghibli builds, sorry, it comes out naturally. But anyway, you may be wondering why it took me so long to produce this video and to make this build. Because first of all, I encountered some technical problems back in January. Like, The Sims was being weird. I mean, my copy of the game was being weird in my own laptop, and now I have to record every speed build in another person's laptop, which is quite inconvenient. So that's why it took so long to record this. And I was also caught up in a lot of collaborations in Instagram. So far I think I've been in 3 collaborations, I guess. But I'll try to join less collabs and focus more on this build series because I've been really late on the uploads on this build series. And I really want to finish all the Ghibli builds if that's even possible, because so far I think we have 22 Ghibli movies. Sorry, I should say Ghibli by now. There are 22 Ghibli movies, and there are more than 22 Ghibli builds because some movies have more than one build in them. So that's gonna be quite the challenge for me. I mean, it's been a year and I think this is the 30th build that I've done for this channel. Yeah. And completing 22 builds, let's say, in a span of a year is quite surreal to me. And I haven't built that much in that span of time. Speaking of this being my 30th build, there are actually a lot of things that are going on for this channel. First of all, I actually celebrated my 1-year anniversary of this channel back in the start of March, so I guess yay, happy anniversary to this channel. And we just reached 1,000 subscribers, which I'm very thankful for. So thank you so much to all of you who have subscribed and supported my work all the way. So thank you so much. I couldn't have done this without you guys. To be honest, that is a lot of achievements for this month because I haven't done anything like this before, so I'm very, very happy and grateful that I get to share my builds with you guys, and you appreciate it so much. So thank you so much. I should really talk more about the build. I think we are now in Sosuke's room. We do get some frames of it in the movie, that it's full of toys and full of nautical sea stuff. So I tried to incorporate that in this room. And I think what was the most difficult part about this room was the toddler bed that I tried to transform into a full-size bed, because in the movie it is a full-size bed, and you know, in real life toddlers can sleep in a full-size bed, but in The Sims that can't happen. So I tried to find a way to turn this toddler bed that you're seeing here right now into the full-size bed that appears in the movie. I mean, it's not that great, but it works. I don't know. Let me know what you think, if we should have full-size beds that are accessible to toddlers, or if you just want a normal toddler bed. If you download this, you could just delete it and replace it with a toddler bed or something else. Actually, thinking about it now, I only have one toddler bed, and there are 2 toddlers in this household, which is Ponyo and Sosuke. So I guess you can renovate it and add in another toddler bed to accommodate another toddler. Now we're in the master bedroom, which is never shown in the movie, but we just know that it's in the front of the house where it has the balcony, and now we are in the exterior doing the landscaping. Pretty straightforward, except that I had to use the tool mod a lot to shove some plants down, and really it was a lot of tool mod work. Oh, I think I forgot to mention that little outhouse that you see there in the back, it's actually a half bathroom, because we don't have space for a full-size bathroom in the downstairs. There is a full bathroom upstairs, but I didn't show it here because it's pretty generic, and you know, it's pretty straightforward. But as you see here, I do focus on a lot of the details that I saw in every frame. And we're now in the car park area. It's pretty straightforward. I used a roof and kind of adjusted it. Used the tool mod too for the pillars. And if there's this little bump out wall thing on the roof, so I removed it with windows by sizing down windows. So yeah, I think we're just finishing up the landscaping. I don't show much of it here because it's quite repetitive, and it's just basically a lot of tool mod work and adding some tires and more details that I see in the movie, which is again kind of a staple rule here now in my Ghibli build series. So anyway, you're so close to the end of the video. See ya! Thank you so much for still being here, and if you like this video and want to see more of my builds and Ghibli builds, do like and subscribe because it really helps me out a lot. The build tour is coming up, and I wish you all to have a lovely day. See ya!